Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson. The meeting that cleared up misunderstandings. The Los Angeles night was lit by the flashbulbs of the media, but in a quiet corner of a luxury hotel, Jamie Dornan leaned against the railing, looking out at the city skyline under the yellow lights. His breath was slightly labored, his heart beating faster than usual. It had been more than 5 years since he and Dakota Johnson had last spoken. The messages that were never sent, the words that were meant to be said but were held back, all of them now weighed heavily on his heart. They had been so close to understanding each other that it seemed nothing could tear them apart. But misunderstandings, tensions, and the price of fame had driven them apart. Jamie recalled the last filming they had done together, a movie they both loved, but behind the scenes, unnecessary arguments had created an unbridgeable gap. He had thought that time would heal everything. But now standing here, amidst the bright lights and noise of the awards ceremony, he realized that the distance had deepened more than ever. He took out his phone and saw a notification. Dakota Johnson has confirmed his attendance at the after-party. His heart suddenly tightened, not because he was worried about the public eye, but because he knew this encounter would force them to face the past. Dakota and the unspoken feelings. Dakota stepped into the hall, her eyes scanning the familiar faces, then stopping at Jamie. In that moment, the world seemed to quiet down. They didn't rush forward, didn't fake smiles, just looked at each other in a heavy silence. She remembered the times they'd rehearsed for difficult scenes together, teased each other during breaks, moments that seemed normal but now became precious memories. Dakota sighed. All the questions, frustrations, misunderstandings, and feelings of abandonment, all of it came back now. But she also realized something. In that silence, she still cared, still missed Jamie. The first encounter, they happened to be standing near the cocktail bar. Jamie tried to calm down, her voice warm but tense. Dakota, it's been a long time. She nodded, smiling slightly, but there was still a hint of hesitation in her eyes. Too long, and maybe too much left unsaid. There was a long silence. Jamie took her hand, gently, not to touch but to reconnect the invisible bond they had once shared. I want us to talk. Really, everything, no more misunderstandings. Dakota looked at him, her heart filled with mixed emotions, disappointment, regret, but also hope. Me too. Maybe we've kept quiet for too long. They retreated to a quiet corner of the lobby, away from the curious eyes of those around them. It all started with careful introductions, career stories, new projects, but then quickly shifted to the past, where unspoken feelings suddenly surfaced. Unspoken words. Jamie took a deep breath. Dakota, I know I was wrong. So many times I let misunderstandings fill the space between us. I didn't say what I really felt. She listened, her heart aching. Me too, Jamie. I used to think silence was the best way, but it turned out it only made things worse. I used to resent, I used to get angry, but I also never stopped caring. In that moment, all the walls they had built up over the years seemed to start to crumble. There were no more lights, no more loud music, just two people facing each other, holding each other with the honest truth. Jamie looked at Dakota, his eyes filled with sincerity. I want to start over. Not to return to what was lost, but to build something new, starting today. Dakota closed his eyes for a second, then opened them, smiling gently. We can try. But this time, no more silence. Everything must be said, even if it is difficult. Jamie nodded, feeling like a huge burden had been lifted from his shoulders. For many years, they had carried too much unnecessary pain. And now, with just a sincere conversation, they began to untangle each knot, the first step of healing. They decided to take a walk around the garden behind the hotel. The Los Angeles night was cool, the lights twinkling like stars, creating a rare peaceful atmosphere in a city that never sleeps. Jamie shared about the past years, the pressures, the disappointments, the things he dared not tell anyone. Dakota listened, occasionally asking a question or sharing her own experiences. No one interrupted, no one judged. Just truth, understanding, and a sense of relief. Before leaving the garden, Dakota said softly, "Maybe, we've waited too long for this moment." Jamie took her hand, feeling the warmth of the small, familiar hand. "Yes, but at least we're here. And that's more important than anything." They didn't know what the future would hold, but at least tonight, two people who had been apart had begun to resolve years of unspoken tension, to start a new chapter, together, honestly, and without silence.